What's up, everybody? Rothstein here, Betting Public Sports Show. I'm your beloved host, Fame Rothstein, a.k.a. Ye Saint Croissant. Today is Thursday, February 19th, 2026. Please like and subscribe to the video because this is one of those videos that are that we're going to file under I told you so. But like and subscribe, share, leave comments on the video. Because, this is one of those I told you shows. I told you so episodes. A couple weeks ago, we just talked about this. Cam Newton in a conversation. It was his own show. What is it? 106 in sports on the Black Entertainment television network, BET. It's a playoff on the show that they used to have, the best or the most recent video music show, 106 in Park. BET had with AJ Calloway and Free. Beautiful Free. And so Cam, I guess he kind of revived the artwork or whatever. And it's called 106 and Sports. It's a sports show, and Cam was on there. I don't know who the guy is. I don't know if it's not Peggy from his 4th and 1 podcast. It's not that guy, that Peggy guy. It's some other guy. He's on there, and they're talking about, beautiful women at the workplace and, not being platonic friends with women. Cam calling it platonic, and said he's not playing these games with women and things like that. But he specifically said on his show, on that episode, he specifically said, I'm not going to sit here. I don't have any beautiful women as friends, but we're playing like we're just platonic. If I get involved with a beautiful woman, this isn't verbatim. If I get involved with a beautiful woman, I'm basically trying to hit. His word was stab. He's like, I'm stabbing her. He's trying to hit it. And I told you that was going to come back and bite him in the ass. And it did. BET canceled his show. And I told you on that, you can go back in my archives. It wasn't but a couple weeks ago. I told you. And it's about Cam. I mentioned Cam in the title. I told you that would come back and bite him in the ass, even though his honesty was refreshing and kind of, falls right in line with bro code. But still, you just can't say that. And at that time, I didn't know he was on a national network with his own show. Saying something like that on ESPN was kind of dangerous. Why? Because for decades now, the former jocks at ESPN have gotten in trouble for messing with those women over there. A lot of them, the young stagehands, the 23-year-old production assistant or 25-year-old assistant producer or whatever that you don't see on camera. It's not like they're messing with a Elle Duncan or some of those women, some of the on-air talent women that you see. Cindy Brunson you used to see. Who else? I can't think of anybody offhand, but Elle Duncan and Cindy Brunson, gorgeous women that you've seen on ESPN. Laura Rutledge, they're not talking about them. These athletes, Harold Reynolds, the former baseball GM, I forget, Steve Phillips, Chris Carter. These guys weren't getting in trouble with those women. They were getting in trouble with the younger stagehands. These old 50-something-year-old men, 40-something-year-old men going to over 50, hitting on these 20-something-year-old women because they got a bag in their pocket, the men do, and they still aren't fit. They still fit, look good, health-wise, throw a couple dollars to a young stagehand. And Cam basically saying like, nah, I ain't finna sit there and play around like that. I'm not playing around like that. Like, if you're a beautiful woman and we become cool, I'm trying to fuck. And lo and behold, a couple weeks later, BET cancels his show after eight shows. 8 shows. They canceled it. Now they might say ratings or whatever. I don't think they gave an official explanation as to why they did it, but I guarantee you they had something to do with that. Because he basically just said, I'm a sexual harassment case waiting to happen. You put a bad chick in front of me, I'm going to try to fuck. We're not going to sit here and try to act like we're just professional co-workers. And there's something to be said about what he's saying. You know, you put these beautiful women in the workplace. I mean, yeah, a man tries to respect them, but if you're good looking, men try to fuck. That's what men do. It's like, yeah, I like to conquer that. Then I saw the Jason Whitlock show, Fearless, where he's on there with some black reverend, the black lady Shamika Smoke. I forgot her real name, but yeah, they call her Shamika Smoke. You know, nice, attractive black woman. She's older, you know, like in her 40s. Might even be hit 50 by now. The Korean co-sale, Steve Kim, and this some off-brand ass dude. Whitlock seemed to be kind of clowning him every time he come on. Or, you know, biting back at what he be saying, but Scap Attack, he basically was the guy who was the forefront of saying LeBron's on steroids. LeBron James is on steroids. They call him Scap Attack. I forgot what his name actually is. Scap something, Scapanak or something like that. But and Jason Whitlock's, you know, hosting them, and they all take their turns. You know, Shamika says that you know, Cam is basically, you know, immature and things like that. Which kind of surprised me that she took that take, because, you know, she seems like, you know, she usually takes a man's side on something like that. That really surprised, her take really surprised me, I gotta admit. You know, Cosell was kind of down the middle, but leaning toward Cam. The Scapanak dude, you know, the Scap Attack dude, he was like, oh, I love this. It was hysterical, you know, but called Cam stupid. I forgot what the Reverend, I totally forgot what the Reverend said. I don't think it was nothing too important, but because the main thing I was talking about the Whitlock show was Whitlock himself. You know, he said, he said platonic friends was kind of smart. What's the word he used? Didn't say genius, but he said that was, you know, he liked the wordplay. He thought that was slick. But he said saying stabbing is juvenile, immature. Which on a level it is, because it come from hip hop and, you know, come from street, you know, parlance, and it tends to be immature street parlance. But the thing that fucked me up about Whitlock is because, you know, he kind of went against Cam and said that, you know, Cam is, you know, immature and, you know, he basically played himself. But it was like, Whitlock, you said the same thing about Joy Taylor and that beautiful peanut butter skin and those wonderful cans she has. You said the same thing when when you guys were both at Fox FS1. You stayed away from her because you knew you. You didn't want to get around her, and some shit happened. You didn't say you would say something to her, but you did say you know you. And you purposely avoided her. And that's all Cam is saying. I'm trying to purposely avoid, you know, attractive women because he's going to try to fuck. And, you know, look at Cam. He's 6'5", built like an Adonis. You know, he handsome guy. I mean, you know, pause. You can call me whatever, but, you know, I'm, you know, secure in my manhood. He's a handsome guy. 6'5", you know, mid-30s, coming on 40. Still look like he's in great shape. And he's got a bag. I can't, you know, I mean, going back to high school, I doubt Cam had a problem meeting women. So, you know, and he's got like, what, 9 kids by like 6 women or 3 women or something like that? purposely done, from what I understand, from what I read, purposely done. But he's basically letting it be known, like, hey, I don't want to be friends with no woman. There's nothing that being a friends with a woman is gonna do for me. So therefore, if we ain't getting it in, we ain't gonna kick it. Like he said, like the song said, I got a man. If we can't be lovers, then we can't be friends. And there are men that think that, and truth be told, you can call it immature, whatever. I don't see a problem with it. He's basically letting the parameters of his relationship with a woman be known. If we're not sexually involved, I'm not interested. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? I don't need you to call me to give me bro advice. I don't need you calling me, asking me for my advice on another dude that you want to fuck. Don't call me by asking advice on how to handle this dude, that dude, and things like that. I don't care. That's all Cam's saying. And I just thought Whitlock was a little bit of a hypocrite going at Cam like that. But, because, we support Whitlock on this show. We fucks with him because, he's from right across the street, Indianapolis. And, a lot of his sensibilities I get. I got peoples out in Indianapolis. I can go to Indianapolis and kick it for a week right now if I felt like it. You know what I'm saying? So, but Cam, I don't have a problem with what Cam said. I really don't. He's being honest. Women in the workplace like that, when you try to, sometimes diversity is not necessarily good. And when you're talking about a male ego-driven, a male ego conqueror-driven type of environment like sports and former athletes, trust me, if you're a woman and you're not getting hit on by these athletes, you need to be looking at yourself. Like, what am I doing that they don't want to fuck me? I'm just being honest. Because pro athletes, they're still, look at Shannon Sharp, mid-50s. You say it was a hoax with his Instagram. Maybe it was, but it's just a simple fact that he knew people would believe it. That's because pro athletes, that's what they do. They still fuck around on their wives. They, got multiple girlfriends, got younger girlfriends. That's just part of their culture, part of their makeup, part of their DNA. And Cam's basically saying that part of my DNA has not been smothered yet. I will stab. Keep him away from your sister. Keep him away from whoever. But just know that if you're an attractive looking woman, Cam's on the prowl. If they come into contact. So I'm not going to say kudos to BET for canceling this show, but they might have dodged a bullet. Now ESPN is on the clock. Because Cam does comes on there from time to time, especially during football season. So that's all I got for today. But you let me know. Do you think Cam was okay for doing that? Do you think BET was okay for firing Cam? Will ESPN follow suit? The answer to these questions and more be on the next episode of Soap. I'll holler at y'all. Peace.